How do you do, ladies and turds? So 2 weeks ago, PlayStation had their little showcase, revealing some new games and announcements. And today, Nintendo decided, to have their own direct and pretty much reveal like a million different games. And let me just say, I think it was one of their best shows in a while. So I have my little notes right here. So let's go over everything they announced. First of all, they started with Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. It's basically like some kind of like DLC for Monster Hunter Rise. I don't really care about that game, but it's exciting to see that Capcom is still supporting it after it did so well all those years ago. Then we're getting Mario Party Superstars, of course, that was already announced, but they showed a little trailer, some new like courses and stuff, and it's coming out later in October. I'm excited to see that because it looks like a lot of fun and it looks like a remake of that 3DS game, right? Hopefully it's at least a little bit better than Mario Party and has a little bit more content than that game originally had. Then what I thought was, that 3-Flame Octopath Traveler game. Instead, we got this game called Voice of Cards. This is a Squeenix RPG, right? And basically everything I'm saying here is, okay, what if Square Enix took the Final Fantasy card games like Triple Triad and, that one from Final Fantasy 9, and what if they turned that into a full game? That's basically what I'm getting here. It's like that Triple Triad full version edition. And I'm just gonna say I wasn't really a fan of those kind of games in Final Fantasy, but there's a demo today, so maybe I might at least give it a try. Right after that, they showed Disco Elysium, the final cut, right? I've heard good stuff about this game. People keep telling me, you gotta try it, you gotta play it. I think, my brother was even saying like, it's one of the best games I've ever played and stuff, right? And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I might, finally be able to give this game a try because I hear nothing but good stuff about this RPG. Some people say it's like the best game ever made. The writing is top notch and, so I'm glad it's coming to the Switch and that hopefully it runs smooth and that I can, enjoy it from start to finish. After that, they showed Age of Calamity expansion pack. I was literally playing Age of Calamity, I think yesterday, right? It's been a while since I played through the game and I wanted to, at least try to finish the story or something and move on to another game. One of my favorite parts of that game was basically the cutscenes and, learning about the different characters. And, I just feel like it's overall a better game than Hyrule Warriors was. And so it's nice to see that we're getting more story DLC here for Age of Calamity. And then also those two characters are becoming playable as well. All we need now, of course, is Tingle to make a return and, the greatest game ever made. Then they showed something I wasn't expecting to see at all. I'm like, what the turd is this? Chocobo GP, right? Basically Chocobo Grand Prix, or in other words, a Final Fantasy racing game. I was like, what? Why does this exist? What is this? I know Final Fantasy 7 has like those mini games, right? You can race chocobos and everything, but this is like a full-on, like, you can play as a chocobo, you can play as Vivi, you can play as Gilgamesh, and you're in cars and you're shooting out, magic spells, Firaga. It's not really something I was expecting to see, Final Fantasy racing game, but it's definitely, something I'm gonna look forward to. I want to give it a try, right? My brothers and I, we played Garfield Kart not too long ago, and we had one of the best times ever with that game. It was so broken, but it was a lot of fun. And so hopefully, Chocobo GP is a little bit better at least. Then, of course, they didn't show anything but a little teaser for the Smash Bros DLC, right? October 5th, we're getting a Smash Bros Direct. Basically, I think in like 1 week, 1 or 2 weeks. So that's awesome. And the guy confirmed it himself too. He's like, all right, this is the final, Smash Bros like character announcement, and this is basically the final Smash like Direct. That's it. After that, there's no more like Smash Bros Ultimate, trailers, no more news, no nothing, I'm guessing. Basically after that, the game is finished. It's been 3 years since it first came out, and hopefully it's Crash Bandicoot, but I honestly doubt it. I think it's gonna be somebody else. This next game they announced, right? At first, I thought it was Kingdom Hearts. I'm like, what am I looking at? These like colorful looking, cartoon trees and stuff. And then I thought it was maybe like Link's Awakening or something, right? I'm like, oh, are we getting like DLC or something? Like, it's got that like same figurine kind of like cartoon look, right? And then we see Kirby and I'm like, what the third is this? Kirby and the Forgotten Land over here. Basically Kirby has his own open world game. I'm like, oh, that looks so cool. They're basically doing what they did with Mario Odyssey and bringing it over to Kirby. That is really exciting to see, because basically what that tells me is that, all right, Kirby is mainly a, side-scrolling 2D like linear platformer game, right? So if they can do, Kirby well, right, and they can do it faithfully and they put it open world and stuff, they can easily do the same thing with Donkey Kong Country, right? I'll take Kirby right now, right? As long as Donkey Kong gets an open world kind of game, similar to how they did in the Nintendo 64 game. It looks pretty though. I want to see the wheel make a comeback as well as the UFO, because those were my favorite. And then after that, they showed a little teaser, right? In October, Animal Crossing is getting their own direct, and they hinted that Brewster, my boy Brewster, is coming back, right? That is awesome. I haven't played Animal Crossing in like a year now. I lost my save, right? It corrupted, and then I was heartbroken and I never went back. I really got into New Horizons. It was a game where I like couldn't put it down for a long time. And then after my save was lost, I just didn't want to do it all over again. It brought me a tear. Then they showed Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, of course. This does not look like the remake that was announced in the PlayStation Showcase though. I think this might be either the original game just ported over to the Switch, or it might just be like a simple remaster. Either way, that's awesome. I always heard, you know, like, oh, this is one of the best Star Wars games ever made, right? Like, it's like a single player kind of like adventure game. And so it's cool to see that this game has come to the Switch and I can at least give it a try now after all these years. Something really, really cool that caught me off guard was they're showing this footage, right? And I'm like, no way that's, you know, a game that's on the Switch, right? They're like, look at all these trees, look at all these details, look at the faces on the people, right? And they showed it's Dying Light 2. I'm like, what the turd? You know, the footage they're showing looks like something that's, you know, on the computer, right? Computer graphics. And then they revealed, you know, cloud version. So basically what that means is, you know, you have to connect to the internet if you want to play this. I think they did the same thing with Resident Evil 7 and that one game, I can't remember what it's called. Right after that, they showed the original Dying Light is coming to the Switch. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Shippy T, he's like, you gotta try this game. I was playing, you know, multiplayer with my friends and it's a lot of fun, and I replayed it like multiple times, and I can't wait for Dying Light 2. And he was telling me that it's like one of his favorite games ever made. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome, Shivity. You know, thanks for sharing. You want to try it one day. I was surprised they actually did show the game is called Triangle Strategy, and that name made me laugh a bit. There was a demo for this game, right? And they mentioned that, you know, fans played the game and they gave feedback to developers like, okay, you gotta fix this, you wanna, you know, change this. And they took that to heart and they tweaked some stuff in the game to make it a little bit better. And I always thought that's really cool, right? Respect to whoever's, you know, developing this game, because that's always cool to listen to your fans. Then, of course, they showed Metroid Dread, right? It was like a story trailer, and I couldn't look away. I had to block my eyes, right? I'm like, I can't look, right? The only thing I know about Metroid Dread is that first original E3 trailer. After that, I have avoided every single trailer, every announcement, every single news article, everything. All I want to know is, are the special editions and the amiibos being restocked? And that's basically all I need right now, because I want to go into this game dark. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to see anything, right? I feel like, you know, I'm going to have the best experience if I go in there blind, right? And so I had to block my eyes because I saw some stuff, right? I'm like, oh, I don't want to know about the story. I want to learn this. I can't look. I'm happy to say that on Twitter, Nintendo is just spewing out, right? They're like marketing Metroid Dread like left and right. And it just makes me so happy. I'm like, finally, Nintendo shows some respect, you know, it's the 35th anniversary of Metroid. Maybe it took them 35 years, you know, to get to this point, but I'm just happy overall that Samus Aran, you know, deserves the respect for saving the galaxy all those years. I'm excited, I can't wait, and I hope everyone else is too. There was rumors going around that there might be Game Boy Color games and maybe Nintendo 64 games available for the Switch Online and stuff. And basically, they're like, all right, Switch Online is getting a expansion pack. They didn't say what the price is. They didn't say when it's coming out, but they did say, I think there was more information coming out in October. Yes, we have confirmation. Nintendo 64 games are coming to the Switch, which is awesome. And they showed Ocarina of Time is coming there. Majora's Mask is coming there later on. Paper Mario, Banjo-Kazooie. I can finally play Banjo-Kazooie. I was waiting for Rare Replay to come over to the Switch so I can do that. They showed F-Zero. They showed Mario Tennis. It's also nice to see that Sin and Punishment, right? Like one of the like rarest games on the Nintendo 64 is also, you know, going to be playable. They show like a list, right, of Nintendo 64 games. They're like, all right, these are what's coming out right now, and then there's going to be more coming out later. And I'm really happy that Paper Mario is finally getting, you know, some kind of recognition, like the original, basically. They show Genesis games are coming to the Nintendo Switch Online too, right? The Sega Genesis. I was like, what? Genesis? Like, yeah, Genesis. So, you know, Castlevania Bloodlines, between that game and Super Castlevania 4, I don't know which one I like the most, right? But Castlevania Bloodlines is coming over, Sonic, Fantasy Star. But that blew my mind because I was like, well, that's a welcome surprise. Like, I wasn't expecting that. But back in the 90s, Nintendo and Sega, they were always fighting each other, right? Like, Genesis does what Nintendo don't, right? And they were like going after each other. And so now, seeing that the Switch literally has Genesis games on it, that's kind of crazy. Like, I never thought I would see the day. Maybe we'll get Dreamcast games. I don't know. That would be a dream. Then they also announced that the controllers, right? The Nintendo 64 and Genesis controllers are also getting like wireless, like Bluetooth Switch controllers. And that's awesome. I have this adapter and stuff where I can plug into the Switch so I can play with the original controllers. What's weird though is seeing Nintendo produce, you know, Genesis controllers. That my brain, I'm like, that is so weird. That is just so weird. I never thought I would see that, right? And then there was a rumor for like a week or two now that Castlevania is basically having like another collection and it's coming over to the Switch. And it was just confirmed that yes, Castlevania Advanced Trilogy is being made. And I don't know if it was like the Sprite games or if it was just the Game Boy Advance games, because they showed Dracula X and I know that was on the Super Nintendo. But basically those games are coming over to the Switch and they're available today. And you get a number of little like bonus things too, right? You get a special art gallery, you can play the original versions or like updated versions or something. And I just thought that was really, really cool because Castlevania is awesome and I can't wait to play more of the series. This was probably my favorite announcement of the entire Direct today. It blew my mind. I was not expecting to see this at all. I was just like blown away, right? And I'm gonna show you my reaction right here.
An almighty classic returns.
What is that? Oh, ActRaiser! ActRaiser? Is this ActRaiser? We're getting ActRaiser!
Classic Super NES game ActRaiser returns.
Oh my god!
Now remastered in
Oh, that
HD.
is so cool! And yes, ladies and gentlemen, ActRaiser Renaissance. Oh my lord. ActRaiser is getting a remake and it's available today, right? It's available today. That caught me off guard. ActRaiser I played a few years ago, I believe, for the first time, and easily it became one of my favorite Super Nintendo games that I've ever played. Like, it's so unique, and there's two parts to this game. There's like this kind of like SimCity like world kind of simulator where you have to like help the villagers and then you have to upgrade your town and stuff, and you know, and whenever they have a problem like, oh, there's a monster, he's burning our crops, can you help him? Basically you go into the levels and then it turns into like a 2D side-scrolling kind of game. You know, then you're like fighting the monsters and it's really cool. Then you defeat the boss and everything, and then it goes back to that like SimCity kind of world view. It's a really unique game. I've never seen another game do what, you know, ActRaiser did until a few months ago. There was a game called Smelter. I'm excited though. I wasn't expecting this, right? We had Advanced Wars remake announced a while ago, and now ActRaiser. I'm like, oh my lord, this is cool. Bring more games like this, right? Like little games that I don't hear many people talking about. Bring them over because they deserve remakes and, you know, re-releases because they're just so awesome. Then, of course, Deltarune Chapter 2 was recently announced on the PC, and they said that Chapters 1 and 2 are free on the Switch, I believe. So give it a swirl. I haven't tried it yet, but I know I liked it. It's basically like a sequel to Undertale or something. And then Miyamoto came out of nowhere, right? He walked from the screen and he's like, hi everyone. And I was like, hi Miyamoto, it's been a while. Haven't seen you. He's got like gray hair now. He's, you know, getting a little older, and he announced that like the same company behind like Despicable Me and, you know, those kind of like animated movies, they're making a Mario movie. And I was like, okay, that's cool, like an animated Mario movie, right? Hopefully it's not gonna be kind of bootleg, similar to how that Super Mario Bros movie from the 80s was. That one, we kind of don't talk about that one. And basically, if you've played any first party like Nintendo game with cutscenes, they do it top notch, right? You know, they had like the whole like Story of Light like cutscenes. That was cool. What caught me off guard though, it's gonna be voice acted, right? So you're gonna hear Mario talking, right? I haven't heard Mario talking since maybe that show. Hey, paisanos! You know, right? Mario talking, okay, fine, I'll accept it, right? So what's weird, like, is the voice actors that they got for some of these characters. I was like, wait, what? Is this some kind of April Fool's joke? Or like, so Chris Pratt is gonna be voicing Mario.
He's so cool.
He's so cool. That is so weird. I thought Charles Martinet would have been a perfect, the original Mario. Why not? I think he can do it. Jack Black is gonna be Bowser. I was like, what? Okay, that sounds kind of cool, but like, what? And then the dude who made those horror movies, top-notch horror movies, if you haven't seen them, top-notch, highly recommended. He's voicing Toad. I was like, okay, this just keeps getting weirder the more I see this. And then Seth Rogen is gonna be Donkey Kong. Is Donkey Kong gonna like, hey guys, how you doing? Or is he just gonna be, you know, like doing sounds? And then Charles Martinet, apparently he is gonna be involved too, with random voices in the background and stuff. I can't wait to see it, I guess. When I think of Mario, I don't think of them. Maybe Jack Black, right? And Charles Martinet, but I don't know. I don't know. Then after that, they showed Splatoon 3. They showed more multiplayer stuff. You have this new like crab vehicle thing and different like weapons and everything, which is cool, right? I love the original Splatoon. I haven't really gotten back to it ever since the original though. And then they showed the return of Calamity in a single player trailer too. Don't sleep on the single player like basically aspects of all three Splatoon games. They're top notch, right? Number 3 is going to focus on basically what happened to humans and explore more of the lore of Splatoon, which is always fun to see. We got a return of the scientist guy, and he did his cheesy little pose. I remember back in, you know, like 2015 or whatever, when Splatoon was just announced, I remember he did a little pose too. I was excited for this game when it came out. I remember I had like a full costume and everything, and I can't wait, you know, to see how Splatoon 3 does as well. And finally, their last game that they showed during this direct was this giant monster came out of nowhere, and at first I was like, is this Beautiful Joe or something? Like I see Platinum on the building there, like what is this? And then you see Bayonetta come out of nowhere, right? They teased it, and after like a minute or something, she comes out. Man, I love her new look here, right? They went back to the long hair, and I think that's my favorite Bayonetta is when she has her long hair. Except now, her hair, she has it like braided. It's similar to her daughter, Cerese. And I know in Bayonetta 2, I believe that was her daughter. Unless that was her as a young Bayonetta. I can't remember, it's been a while since I've played it. But I love the original 2, and the third one looks like it's basically kind of similar, right? It's following the same like hardcore action, the crazy moves. You got those transformations, the witch time, everything is basically there, right? They also showed that you're riding some kind of dragon, right? You're like summon thing. You're riding across buildings and stuff. I was like, okay, this game looks like it's gonna be insane, and I can't wait, you know, to give it a try, right? I'm guessing maybe it was because it was like the Nintendo Direct and it was being streamed and stuff. Some of the footage looked a little bit blurry, but maybe, like I said, maybe it was just because it was a stream and not direct feed from the game itself. They showed the game is coming out next year, right? 2022. And then you had this little slice and like a little tease. And I think, is that supposed to be Dante looking at the camera all like, hey, look at me guys, I'm here. I know people wanted kind of like a crossover with Bayonetta and Dante. Either way, it's cool. I like that they showed that, and we finally have some news of Bayonetta 3 because they showed that little teaser logo in 2017, and then it was basically just silence, right? And now finally we have a full gameplay trailer and everything, so that's exciting. And with that said, ladies and turds, there were over like 30 games basically shown and announced here. That's hardcore. Tell me down below, which announcement are you excited to see? You know, like what game are you gonna play? Were you disappointed with the direct? You know, like just tell me down in the comments and we can have a nice chat there. And if you'd like to support my channel so I can keep making videos like this, then please consider supporting me on Patreon or on a donation, and any of the links down below in the description. Thanks for supporting me, everyone, in these past few years, and I'll see you all on another lovely video. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.